Hello, Leo, and welcome to your reading for the weeks of April 23rd to May the 6th, 2024. I think this is the 2-week period we're talking about. This is a reading for you if you are Leo Sun, Leo Moon, Leo Rising, or some other significant Leo placement in your chart. If you're new to this channel, welcome. It's good to have you here. If you're returning, welcome back. Hopefully this is a good reading for you this week. And if you do like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to be notified about these videos. Leave me a comment. Everything helps get this channel to be seen in the algorithm, and everything is appreciated. I also have links in the description below to the kind of services that I offer. That is going to be updated soon, by the way, for people who are interested in my services at the website that is currently called liminalreiki.com, but is going to end up having a different name soon. There'll be more updates on that, although the Liminal Reiki URL will end up pointing to the new website, so you'll be, you don't have to necessarily memorize the new one yet, but anybody who's interested, that's down in the description below. These readings are done according to the astrological houses, so this is what they call a horoscope spread, and so each position represents a different house, and of course each house is ruled by a different sign, so that's the energies that we're going to look at. And the cards are going to be interpreted in terms of the energy of that particular house. We are using Murray Hope's Way of Cartouche deck, and I'm also using, to clarify, the Golden Dawn Tarot. And then we will pull a card at the end from the Black Moon Astrology deck. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first house, Leo. Okay, first off, right away, we're seeing protective energies here. For some reason, you may be feeling restrictive. Perhaps you are, Five of Swords comes up when we feel limited, when we feel defeated in some way. This could also come up when we are comparing ourselves unfavorably to others. This can also come up in this way. Now we have it with Anubis, and Anubis is about boundaries and protection. So right now, I think maybe you are feeling vulnerable in some way. Maybe perhaps there's been some situation where either you feel defeated or you feel like you don't measure up. And so therefore you're kind of in this mode of trying to protect yourself a little bit. And yeah, Five of Swords just kind of indicates that we start to impose these limitations on ourselves or start to criticize ourselves or think we're not good enough. So we'll move through the reading and see if we can figure out why this might be happening for you. But there definitely this feels like a loss of confidence and a need to establish boundaries here. Second house has to do with finances. This is Taurus energy. And we have Nephthys in this house plus the Princess of Pentacles. Princess is like the page. Actually, I have to cover this up. But the Princess of Pentacles is... So this seems to indicate a new financial plan. That maybe there's something you're doing financially, whether it's something you want to invest in, whether this is a new approach to money or paying off bills, or just some maybe new idea for earning money. That's all possible here with the Princess of Pentacles. There's definitely the sense of new energy coming in and new plans being made. But remember, the princess is like the page, so this is something that's new. It's not something that's reached its culmination yet, so you may be very much at the beginning, and that may explain the presence of Nephthys, which is a card of not quite being where you want to be yet, or certain things just being cloudy or amorphous or not clear in terms of how they're going to move forward. So yeah, so there could be something that you're starting out with here, but maybe you're not quite seeing results yet, or perhaps seeing the changes that you want. But Nephthys is a card of things not yet happening. So this suggests to me that it's just simply a case of more time being needed because you are at the beginning. Third house is Gemini energy. Gemini is about communications, messages that come in. If you're in your own business, this is the house of self-effort. If you have brothers or sisters, this can represent sibling relationships. So again, doesn't have to even if you have siblings, but if you think it applies. And also potentially travel over short distances, not long distance travel. So this is more like quick thought, more practical thought, not the kind of deeper thought that we see in the 9th house. And this is employment where you would be working for yourself and not necessarily what we see in the 6th house, which would have to do with working for somebody else. So we have air with the devil. Okay, now air is definitely a card of communication, and this is showing up in the house of communication. Okay, so there could be messages that have been going back and forth. This could be through writing, this could be through speaking. There's definitely this sense of communication, of a lot of things, of talking your way through something, negotiating something. And with the devil here, the devil is a card that comes up when we are, again, there's this stuckness. I feel like there's a negative habit pattern or a thought pattern that keeps tying us into place. Like whatever it is we're going around about in terms of whether this has to do with our business, whether this has to do with a sibling relationship, whether it's more generally just about messages we've been receiving recently, there's a sense here that we may be tying ourselves to some kind of past pattern or way of thinking about things that maybe is not good for us anymore. Now, the devil is Capricorn energy, and sometimes Capricorn is that sense that we have that when we want to move and change, that we start to tell ourselves, oh, but I can't move and change because, maybe I want to move away from a traditional job and, I'm not going to have security if I do that. Or just some kind of a thing that you feel is stressing you out or toxic for you, and you're saying, oh, but I can't change this because of reason X or reason Y. And it may be that there is another way, but maybe you're just so used to doing things the old way. It's the old case of the devil, quite literally, kind of holding you back. So the other advice that I get from air is that you might need to detach from the situation, look at it from a different point of view, maybe entertain ideas from other people, different perspectives, because somehow there's something that you've been doing that is no longer the way that's proper to you. It's something that you've been attached to. It could even be a person or a situation where there's been an attachment and there's a need to, whatever that attachment is, you need to let it go. So air is definitely about detaching from a situation. So take it as it resonates, but this is the house dealing with communication. So this could have to do with a friendship or some kind of a situation. In fact, I'm seeing some things in the 11th house. I'm just looking across. Maybe that will have something to do with this, but we'll wait till we get there. Or this could have to do, with a brother-sister relationship, and it could also have to do with something having to do with business or your own business, if you're in your own business or even thinking of starting one. So anyway, take that as it resonates. Remember, this is a general reading, so I'm just covering all bases here. Okay, so let's look at the 4th house. This is Cancer energy. Cancer is about the home, the family, particularly your home, like where you live, and also your sense of being at home, where you feel at home. So you could, for example, could have a house in one place and feel at home in another place. Family, ancestry, roots, particularly the mother. In fact, we do have Hathor here. So for some of you, Hathor can literally indicate a mother figure or your mother or just somebody who has motherly energy. But this can also be you potentially trying to find security, trying to nest. I mean, Hathor is very strongly domestic in the 4th house. So I feel like this could be you trying to make a house into a home. You know what I mean? Or this could be somebody else who's doing this, whether you or somebody in your family. There's this idea of trying to feel at home in a certain place. And we have it with the 3 of Cups. So this is a very strongly social card. So this could be, maybe you're having family gatherings, maybe there's different events that's going on, maybe you're celebrating something recently. Maybe some of you, I'm looking in the next house and I'm seeing Buckle of Isis, so maybe some of you have had the birth of a child recently. Maybe that's the reason for this. But there definitely seems to be, whether that's the case or not, of definitely gathering around family and trying to find comfort and solace within the home here. Now let's go to your own energy, which is Leo energy. 5th house, creativity, children, and love affairs. And as I was saying, the Buckle of Isis card is here. And in the 5th house, this literally is a card of fertility and often shows up when there has been a child who has been born or there's a new child in the family. Now, again, does not have to be the case. If you say, nope, there's no kids in the family, then that's not the meaning for you. But there's definitely this sense of, for some people, that's exactly what this is going to be, especially with this 4th house influence, that there could be either a new child or a child on the way. However, we do have it with the 5 of Wands, so there's a sense of struggle here. So it could be maybe some of the situations that we're seeing here, maybe now, if you are somebody who's having a child, okay, and again, obviously that's not going to apply to everybody watching, this could be a case where you have, maybe you feel like you're ill-prepared for this with the 5 of Swords. Maybe you have family members or other people following old past patterns that maybe aren't useful right now. Maybe you are trying to figure things out and build things and see how you want to do things. But 5 of Wands would indicate people coming in kind of almost a too many cooks spoil the brew kind of a thing. Somebody, where there's too many people giving their opinion and trying to, there's like a competition here for how things should go. So you could have people coming in sort of meddling uninvited, trying to make you second guess yourself maybe on things that you're doing. Now, if there's not a new child coming in, if you're saying, nope, that has nothing to do with anything, then I feel that this would have to do with some other kind of effort. It could be a creative project. Maybe, okay, if this is about a love affair, this could be a card having to do with fidelity, okay, and somebody being faithful. And with the Five of Wands, maybe there's some questions about that, because this would be a card of competition. Maybe this person has other options, or maybe they think you have other options. If it's about a creative project, then again, something you're working hard at that's going to be rewarded, but there may be this kind of push-pull. Maybe, again, this seems to be connected. These are the two fives. This may be connected to why maybe you're feeling inadequate, or maybe doubting whether or not you have the skills or the ability to handle something. But I feel like Buckle of Isis ultimately says that there is fidelity, or that it says that that whatever efforts you're making are going to be rewarded. So this Five of Wands is I call it a nuisance card. I mean, it's more like there's a quarrel, or there's an argument, or there's competition, but it may be more playful in nature. Like it's annoying, and it can be irritating to us, and it can still potentially have negative effects. But I feel more like it's play fighting. It's not real fighting. So whatever it is, it's something that you don't want to take too seriously. And maybe that's why we see air here as well. Like, detach from something. Don't take it too seriously. Okay. Now we are looking at the 6th house. This has to do with health, has to do with worry and anxiety, and potentially, as I mentioned, with jobs, like a job that you work. It could be a 9-to-5 job, but whatever you're employed doing for money, if you're working for somebody else, not yourself. Although here we have Thoth with the 4 of Swords. So for some people, this is a health issue. Okay, some of you maybe are having a health issue or are recovering from an illness. And the illness can be just about anything. I mean, it can be anything. You could be recovering from a cold. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything. This could be mental stress that you're recovering from. It could represent a lot of different things. I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to try to suggest what this might be. But either you or somebody around you maybe has had some health concerns recently. And so, yeah, there's definitely the indication of needing to take some time out for healing. That seems very clear here, whether we're talking about mental stress or some kind of physical situation. Now, if you're not feeling physically ill, don't assume that this card means that you've got a problem. It could literally just mean that you need a time out from stress, and that these are both cards of healing and taking time out for healing. So take that as it resonates for you, but that could be a need to mentally take a break. It could also be, having to do with physical things. And that may be also, again, I keep going back to, I always refer back to what I've been looking at and trying to see the broader interpretation. For some of you, if you have had physical limitations, maybe that may be a reason why you feel you need to protect yourself. So it's going to be different for everybody, but that explains why there may be a sense here that you are, that you're not, that somehow you're kind of allowing your limitations to rule you in a certain sense. But at the same time, if you are in a position where you still need to heal, I think maybe then what I would say here is that yes, maybe you're accepting limitations right now and setting appropriate boundaries, but recognize that this is not always going to be this way. Okay, it's temporary. Okay, 7th house. This is Libra energy. So partnerships that are usually legalized, marriages, business partnerships, contracts, things like that. If you're not married and you want to be married, or you're thinking about your prospects, here we have this fidelity card for a long-term commitment, that would also be covered by this house. And yeah, interestingly, we have Ankh with judgment, but so what's jumping into my mind is that for some of you, you could be dealing with somebody who's in the middle of it. Maybe there's somebody who you love who's in the middle of a divorce. Maybe that's where we're seeing this competition here, or this irritation. Maybe you're wondering whether this person's going to go back to the other person or not. I mean, that is certainly a possibility here. But the fact that I think the base cards are both the Buckle of Isis and the Ankh, this seems to indicate to me that maybe you're trying to make a decision or a judgment about somebody, or maybe somebody is finalizing a divorce so that maybe a marriage can take place. That's another possibility here. But there definitely seems to be the idea of waking up to something and making a decision. And this could be if there has been some competition here or other people who seem to be meddling, it may be somebody making a final decision to choose you as their partner, okay? So if love is on the table here, then that seems to be what that could be about. If you're already in a stable marriage or you're single and none of this seems to be popping up or be part of your situation, then this could simply mean, it could be that you are somebody who's still finalizing a divorce in some way. And perhaps sometimes, even though this is in the house of legalized partnerships, this could sometimes indicate a person who is more of a romantic partner, maybe than marriage material. I don't know. There's a strong sense here of somebody. It could just be somebody's going to be coming into your life. Maybe this person's been divorced, okay? But maybe it's somebody who is going to be faithful to you and is going to be the right partner for you. And if you're already married, you could have a partner. I mean, this definitely, suggests deep love between partners, okay? But with judgment here, maybe there's some kind of legal thing going on. Maybe that's not connected to your marriage, or if this has to do with a business contract, this could mean, I don't know. There's a strong sense here of making decisions that maybe are going to be more emotionally satisfying rather than strictly by the numbers, where we do something, say when we partner with people to work on something as a labor of love rather than just, oh, this is going to make us money. There could be just certain decisions that have to do with the heart that are affected here. So take it as it resonates here, but some different possibilities there. Interesting combination. 8th house, Scorpio energy. This is transformation. So endings, beginnings, and also other people's money. Okay, so you have Scarab here. Scarab indicates a new beginning or a change. So this definitely means a new start. We have it with the 6 of Cups. Now, the 6 of Cups has to do with past or a past situation, perhaps a childhood situation, or just some person or situation coming back from the past that is now affecting the present. This could be something that's coming around again and has to be resolved. Or maybe this is some past situation that you are going to finally put in its proper perspective. Sometimes this can represent a person who is a kind of, some people refer to this as like the soulmate card, or this is just somebody with whom you have a strong karmic tie. So that is possible here as well. But there's there's just a very strong past energy connected to this card. So I feel like for some of you, this is going to be a new beginning. This is going to be resolving issues of the past. Or maybe there are relationships, maybe there have been love relationships that, need to come to an end because maybe they fulfilled their karmic purpose. Or alternately, maybe they're starting. Maybe this is a situation you're going to be getting into. One thing's going to end and a new thing is going to begin. Take it as it resonates here, but is in the house of endings and beginnings, Scarab really does indicate an ending followed by a beginning. This is definitely a card of new beginnings. So change is definitely coming to you, and this could be, but there could be some things in the past that either need to be resolved or somehow having an impact on the present. Okay, 9th house. This is Sagittarius energy. Sag has to do with expansion, travel, long distance travel in particular, deeper thought, philosophy, religion, institutions that are connected to that. It can also have to do with higher education and furthering your education and educational institutions. So it has to do with this expanding of either your spiritual life or your thinking life, or literally just expanding your horizons by traveling. And yeah, we do have water here. So for some of you, it's interesting because you have air in the 3rd house and you have water here. So for some of you, travel is definitely on the table, okay? And for this card, this can actually be long distance travel or travel to water or across water, quite literally. So with the Princess of Swords, okay, I have to cover up these princesses because they are bare-topped. Looks kind of silly, doesn't it? But yeah. So the Princess of Swords is like the Page of Swords. So this would be, in this particular case, I feel like this is like a thirst for knowledge. This is you trying to dig deep, to research something. This is learning. The Page of Swords, this can be sometimes learning things by indirect means. So it could be things through gossip, or people talking, or people researching, people who spy on you kind of behind the scenes and you don't see them. There could be an element of that. I mean, we do have the devil straight across here, so I don't know. Maybe some of you are dealing with someone who you maybe is operating behind the scenes. But I feel more like within this ninth house that the Princess of Swords has to do with not, like deeply researching something or saying, okay, it's time to do my homework. I've got to learn something. And maybe there's going to be travel connected with this, or maybe there's something, an emotional component to this. Like maybe this is about learning something that's going to be a deep dive into emotions, whether this is you maybe working with someone else to deal with their feelings and emotions, or whether this is you taking a deep dive into something that has to do with you and your soul and where you're going, because again, that is an aspect of this. But this is definitely about searching for information and doing research. And I feel like that's really the element here. So whether this is about personal fulfillment or whether you are taking up some kind of a course of research either far away or for the purposes of maybe working with others or healing others, you can take that as it resonates. But there's those are some of the possibilities there. Okay, so 10th house, Capricorn energy. Capricorn is about your career, your fame, your reputation. And okay, so we've got Temperance here, which is Sagittarius energy with the Earth card. Now, Earth is about, can't even talk. Earth is a good financial omen. So when you have it in this house, this can indicate, this could be the steady building of a career, okay? And also the steady financial gains. So I'm looking down here, if there's a business thing going on here, or like this Nephthys in the second house where you're saying, gee, I'm making a financial plan and I don't see things yet. This would indicate that things are growing and are going to yield financial fruit, because Earth does tend to bring money wherever it shows up. With Temperance, this would be about keeping things in balance, okay? And this also is about balancing opposites. As you see, this is about, you've got fire and you've got water. So this is about taking paradoxical things and blending them together. This is like an alchemy. I say Temperance is not just about keeping two sides in balance, it's about integrating those two sides and having them work together, even if they seem like they're opposing each other. So this is about where you're finding how the different elements, the different pieces of the puzzle with what you're doing, how they fit together and how they harmoniously blend together. And Temperance would also suggest that I feel like this sometimes comes up when it's not like we necessarily have to, quote unquote, do a whole lot. It doesn't mean, and when I say that, I don't mean that we don't have to do any work, but more that something's going to come to us effortlessly. It's not something where we have to go, roll up our sleeves and get the shovel out and like force our way into a situation. I feel like there's some things that are going to start flowing to you naturally, and the pieces of the puzzle will naturally start to flow together. But certainly if there's been something you've been trying to do with your career, maybe that hasn't been lucrative up to this point, this does seem to indicate money coming in from that vantage point. Okay, 11th house. This is Aquarius energy. So this is friendships, social networks, business networks, your goals, your hopes and wishes. Okay, so we have Osiris here. So again, Sagittarius energy. Again, it could be a Sag involved, doesn't have to be. But this is the idea of stability, leadership, and things of that nature. And so when this comes up, this could be a friend who is solid that we can lean on. Or this could be somebody who has those traits. Could be Aries, could be Sagittarius. But we have this with the Nine of Swords. So this is the idea there's a worry about something. And remember I said down here, I'd seen something down here where I thought, yeah, there could be competition or there could be worry about a friend or about a toxic attachment. So maybe there is somebody here who you are worried about. But Nine of Swords here, Nine of Swords, I always find, this is in my experience, comes up when we are being very mentally cruel to ourselves, like we see with this Five of Swords here and this Five of Wands. But really, it's not about anything. It's more about what we're projecting onto others. It's not, or what we're thinking, the way that we overthink and speculate what might happen. But it's not necessarily anything that's actually going to happen. But it does seem that there's a lot of mental distress either around a goal or around a... It's either around a goal, or it's or this could be about a relationship, about somebody who you're worried about them, or maybe you're worried about the status of your relationship. Could be for some people, but But Osiris does seem to indicate something that's stable and solid. So I don't know. I feel like, you know, you do have friends who are going to be a rock, who are going to be a support. And I don't know. It just could be. I feel like there's a sense here that there's negative habit patterns that need to be released. So I think this may be saying that, you know, reassuring you that you are on solid ground, that you do have support, and to kind of try to release this kind of mental worry that is not, that is not, I'm going to say it's not real in the sense of it's more about what might happen rather than what's going to happen. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of mental stress and worry that needs to be released there. But again, some of you could have been through a situation where maybe you feel like you've been burned. And so maybe your whole thing is about retreating. Maybe you've had a loss of confidence with regard to something going on. So I don't know, but and again, I also don't know if this has to do with things that you're worried about with respect to healing. Maybe you are concerned about somebody. And Osiris also is father energy too, by the way. So I don't know if this is somebody's father in some cases where there's a worry, but that usually shows up in a different place. But nonetheless, I mean, there's definitely a concern about either somebody in your friend group or about moving ahead with something. So yeah, I don't know. From what I'm seeing in the rest of this reading, I feel like these may be limitations that have been caused by past things, but it's time for a change. It's time to look at things a little bit differently. It's time to let go of those past patterns that tie us to the past, okay? Okay, and we've got another 5 here in the 12th house. This is Pisces energy. Pisces is about what we're afraid of, what we're doubting, what is, you know, what maybe we hide from others, maybe even hide from ourselves. Okay, now we've got Isis here, which is, again, this strong motherly vibe to this. Remember, we have Hathor down here. Or this could have to just do with being patient with something. Isis sometimes shows up when we have to persevere very patiently, and maybe we're not feeling very patient. And you have it with the 5 of Pentacles. So there definitely seems to be financial concerns here. Like there's changes. Maybe there's been some kind of a health issue. Maybe there's been some changes to a relationship situation. But there's just something here that's leaving you feeling mentally stressed. Something that seems like it's coming around again, whether it's the same person or just the same situation. And it's making you feel, you know, less confident about something, maybe putting up more boundaries. Maybe something financial that hasn't happened yet that you're waiting for. And maybe you are kind of burrowing yourself more into your home and your family situation, looking for security. But yeah, this is definitely about either feeling like you're left out in the cold, or this is poverty consciousness, like worrying that you're not going to have enough, that you don't have the security. And that seems to be an unconscious factor. That plus this need for patience or the careful nurturing of something. So let's look at the overall. You have the Horus card. Okay. So, and you have it with the Hangman. So, okay, 2 things here. Horus, first of all, this is a strong family card, and this is a strong friendly support card. Okay, so first of all, this says to me that you do have support. You need to look around to see who is supporting you, okay? Because you do have support. This is also a very creative energy. So this suggests, you know, what comes into my head is create something new. It's time to improvise, to have fun, to do something you haven't done before, to use all your talents and your faculties to make a situation that has not been. And there's also a strong sense of healing around this card. There's heroics to it. So the sense of there's a difficult situation and somehow all of a sudden everything gets resolved and you look back and go, wow, I don't know how all that managed to get resolved, but it did. So this is you pulling through a difficult situation, the heroics of mind, as they call it. And with the Hanged Man, okay, so this is basically saying, this is Leo energy, and there's basically this sense of having the resources and the support to be able to pull through a situation, to generate healing, to be creative, okay? And again, there could be a strong family element for some of you too. Hanged Man says that you need to take a new perspective on things. Things may feel like they're stuck right now with the Hanged Man, and sometimes there could be a sacrifice, and I'm seeing that down here in the 3rd house. whether if this is about business or whether it's about a family matter or something like that. There's some situation that you need to let go of, okay? That is done. Something in your past that is done. Judgment. This could have to do with a relationship. I mean, again, it's going to be different for each person, but there's a strong sense here, something that has to be gotten rid of here. And the Hanged Man, this person, as you can see, I mean, they're upside down. You need to kind of stand on your head and take, maybe not literally, but you need to sort of mentally stand on your head and take a different perspective on things. You may be looking at things from too limited of a perspective, and you may have more options. Right now, you have a lot of 5 energy in this reading, as well as something like the 9 of Swords, and you have cards of things that have not really come about yet. So I feel like you are in a point of struggle right now, where you want to move ahead with something, but you're struggling against perhaps insecurity, maybe feelings of financial inadequacy, maybe feeling like you're competing with different elements here, or that maybe you're just not good enough. Maybe you're comparing yourself to somebody here. So yeah, there's a lot of strong boundaries that are being set here, and a lot of worries about where you're going. But I definitely see strong energy. It's interesting because with Princess of Swords, this is jumping into my head, and I think this is an individual message for one person. Or maybe it could be more than one person, but it feels very specific that there may be somebody from far away or from a trip who might be watching you right now. Okay? That could also be the sense of that Princess of Swords there, that there could be somebody who has their eye on you, but you just don't know it right now. And I don't know, that just jumped into my head for somebody. So I don't know who, but you know, if that sounds like something for you, then you can take it. I'm not saying it's a negative thing. It's just that there may be somebody who you're not sure about, or you haven't seen. Okay, so your extra card for this week is Mars. Okay. And this is really a card of kind of being assertive, but not overly aggressive. There is definitely a sense of action that needs to be taken on something. I feel like so with the card of action here, this suggests to me, we do definitely see elements of that. We see things in terms of career. We see things in terms of creativity, okay? We see this idea of working at something is going to make you move ahead, but you may be feeling stuck and inadequate right now. It's quite possible that you've been through certain things and maybe you need to rest or need to recover. But Mars energy says to me that things may start to happen very quickly for you and suddenly, and that you definitely want to be in the mode of taking action and not being passive and indecisive, okay? So for right now, I mean, do recognize you're kind of going through these struggles, but there is a new beginning coming where we need to resolve the past patterns, past thoughts, and recognize that new things that you're trying to work towards in terms of stability and everything, they're not here yet, but they're coming. So I hope this reading helps you this week, Leo. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment if you choose. And if you like to keep seeing these videos or know when they come out, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.